Hey guys, Midnight Owl here. So I kind of wanted to start doing something called Music Mondays. I'll probably do it maybe like once a month or twice a month and just basically talk about music that I enjoy, like different genres, different decades, and give you guys my opinion on some of my favorite albums by those bands and the different songs that I like on the album, like my favorites and things, and maybe just like little tidbits here and there about the band. So this Monday, I wanted to do the decade, the 90s and 90s rock. And I'm not going to be like really like anal about like it, like, you know, music being like strictly this or that, or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to, it's kind of like I'm just using the term loosely when I say 90s rock. I mean, some of these bands could be categorized, I guess, as metal or like industrial rock or something, but I'm just gonna like consider it 90s rock. So first of all, I'm gonna start off with the band. They are called Life of Agony, and a lot of you have probably heard of them before. And their album Ugly, which is my favorite album by them, was released in 1995. And I remember like when it came out, it was like, when I first heard the album, I was like, oh my God, this is like awesome. And I'm not gonna play like the music along in the videos because I just don't want like copyright crap, but I will link below in the description box different videos from the different bands I mentioned, so you can just go and check them out yourselves. So if you don't know who Life of Agony are, they are, well, I don't know, I guess they could be considered metal, but not like wicked heavy type metal, but I'm just gonna say that they're rock. So the album that I mentioned, Ugly, was my favorite album by them, and the two favorite songs of mine on that album are Let's Pretend and Damned If I Do. And I think the lead singer, his name was Keith Caputo, I think he like just had a lot of trouble growing up because you can hear it like in his songs, in his, really much so in his vocals, the way he sings, and obviously in his lyrics. It sounds like he's had some sort of family issues, maybe like a father leaving, a mother dying, or somebody close to him dying, I think, of cancer. So the songs on this album are really emotional, and I really, really like them. So I recommend you guys checking that album out, Ugly. They also do a cover of the song from the Breakfast Club, Don't You Forget About Me. It's an awesome version. It's more like, I don't know, like gloomy, I guess, sounding than upbeat. And I think, so the lead singer, like I said, his name was Keith, and I think, I'm not sure, maybe in the past 10 years or 5 years, I'm not exactly sure, but he's come out as being transgendered and he's changed his name to Mina. And so the last time I saw them perform, I think it was like maybe last year or 2 years ago, and it was the first time I saw him perform as a woman. The vocals basically sounded the same. They were a little bit different. He didn't sound quite the same as he used to. I don't know if he tried to change it more to sound more feminine. I don't know. I'm not saying it was overly feminine or anything, but just had like maybe like a little twinge of like female sounding vocals in there. But they just performed the other night again close to me in Providence, Rhode Island, and I was really bummed out I didn't get to go see them because I would love to have seen them again. But, you know, being a mother now, it's hard to get out of the house. The next band is Corrosion of Conformity. I think they were played on the radio a little bit in the 90s, and I think maybe still now, but I don't think they've had any albums out since. But the album that I really enjoyed was Deliverance, and my two favorite songs on there were Albatross, which I learned was the first song that I learned how to play on guitar, because I remember I started playing guitar in 1994. And then the other song is called Without Wings, and it's an instrumental song. It's really beautiful. I guess, I don't know. I think that the albums that came out like after that one were not that great. But if you're interested in checking out an awesome like rock type album, then I would definitely recommend Deliverance by Corrosion of Conformity. I think the singer went on to do more things. I forget, I'm sorry, I'm like, my brain is just like, I think he like fronted a different band, or like he filled in for a different band, but I don't remember who it was. It could have even been Life of Agony at one point. I don't remember, but if you're a fan of Corrosion of Conformity and you know the answer to that, then leave me a comment below and let me know. The next band is The Hunger, and the name of the album was The Devil Thumbs a Ride. And that came out in 1996. I was like obsessed with this album when it came out. It was just so different sounding. I think that what they categorized it as when I looked it up online was industrial metal. I don't think that I would consider them really metal. Like industrial a little bit, yeah. They kind of had that sound, but like I said, I'm not going to be anal about stuff. It's just like, whatever. I'm just saying it's 90s rock. But my two favorite songs on the album were Vanishing Cream, and I'm pretty sure they played that on the radio because that's how I heard of the band. And then the other song is Love Me or Leave Me. And some songs are better than others on this album. I do like the whole album, but some of them are like a little bit like different, and I don't know, I guess leaning maybe more towards the industrial, like a grungier type side. But I definitely recommend checking out this album if you want to hear something unique and different. The next band is the Sheila Divine, and I think they might, I'm not sure if they're from Boston or not. They might be. I think what I read was they played their first show in Boston, Massachusetts, so they could be a local band. And the album that came out in 1999 was called New Parade. Sorry if I keep looking down. I have like my little notes here. And the two songs that were my favorite on the album were Hum and Like a Criminal. And Hum they might have played on the radio. I don't even know how I heard of this band. Like somebody might have played it for me, or maybe I did hear it on the radio, but you didn't hear very much about them otherwise. And it was really strange because when I met my husband, he knew who the band was. And it's just weird when somebody like knows, like, I guess an obscure band that you didn't think that anybody else would know. And he's like, oh, I know who they are. I have their album. And I was like, oh, like, is that something like we're meant to be? I always think dumb stuff like that. But yeah, I never saw them in concert before, and I'm not sure if they're still around. I think the album that came after New Parade wasn't so great. I have it, and I don't even think I really listened to it. I feel like that happens with a lot of bands. It's like they have this one great album, and then their follow-up is like, I don't know, not so good. Maybe because they have like, they get signed, and then they have like a time frame as to which they need to come out with these albums, and it's like, you know, like a short time frame, and they're like, they just try to like come up with anything possible, and there's not as much effort put into it as the previous album, because that might have been like, you know, something that they like worked on for years and years and years before it finally, you know, became a hit or they got signed. The next band is called Pissed On, and I think that they had to change their name from Pissed On to like Piston, because I think they had like a lot of problems with like the record company was like, yeah, that's like too vulgar, which is kind of stupid. But their album Number One came out in 1996, and they remind me of like Typo Negative, but not really, if that makes any sense. They just kind of have that like dark sound to them, but they're not quite like Typo. Like Typo has the keyboards and everything, and they don't have that. They're heavier, I guess, like more like a, I don't know, more like a rock type sound, whereas Typo was like, I don't know, I guess they have like songs that are like melodic, and you know, you can't compare Peter Steele's voice to anybody because he was so unique. But yeah, they were pretty good, and my two favorite songs, it's like I can't speak English, my two favorite songs on that album were Grey Flap and On Parole, or just Parole I think it was called. And Grey Flap I believe was played on the radio, and like I said, I'll link that one below. And actually the bassist in the band, her name was Valium, and she actually did backup vocals on October Rust, which is the Typo Negative album. And probably that's why I think of, when I think of them, I think of Typo Negative. That's another reason. But I did end up seeing them in a small club, probably in '97. And I think in one of my other videos, like my metal collection video, I have the drummer's drumstick. And so it was, something was weird at that show, because we talked to them afterwards, me and my boyfriend at the time, and something was going on where like one of the band members had like death threats, and they were afraid they were going to get killed at that show. I don't know, it was strange. I didn't get all the details, but I just remember like death threat. And then the last band is Mother's Day Out. It's MUTHA''S, not like mother, Mother's Day Out. Their album was released in '93. I think it was called My Soul Is Wet. I'm an idiot. I like didn't write it down, but I will look it up and I'll put it below if I remember. The two of their favorites, my favorite songs, why do I keep saying their favorite songs? Two of my favorite songs were My Soul Is Wet, and the other one was Memories Fade. They were young. Like, you can tell when you like listen to them, like the singer, like they must have been in their early teens or like early 20s when they put this album out. And one of their songs was featured on the Mortal Kombat soundtrack. The song was What You See. So I don't know, everybody might not know what Mortal Kombat is, but it's a video game. And it was like huge. Like, I remember, like, I loved playing that game. I don't know if it was for different systems, but I played it on Super Nintendo. So, but yeah, they had a movie, a Mortal Kombat movie, and I think the band was like in the movie, and then their song was featured, like I said, on the soundtrack. So I don't think they're around anymore, but they might be just like an acquired taste. I like them. I think that I have like attachments to certain bands because of maybe like something that was happening in my life at the time, or I can relate to the band's different albums, like the lyrics and things like that. So maybe that's why. And other people might be like, these bands suck and this album sucks, but I liked it. Like I said, I grew up in the 90s. I was a teenager in the 90s, and I just have really fond memories of like the albums that came out in the 90s music. Like, I just love it. And it just stinks now. It's like considered like old and like, I guess, like classic type rock, which is kind of funny to me. But yeah, some time has passed since the 90s and I was a teenager, so I guess that's correct. But yeah, so anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, Music Mondays. If you want me to keep doing it, let me know. I'm gonna like do a bunch of different ones, different types of music, like I said, in different decades, because I like all types of music. I mean, there's some that I don't particularly care for, but I do have like a wide range of music that I do listen to. So if you want to hear my recommendations, then let me know and I will keep doing it. So if you have any questions, just leave me a comment, or if you listen to the songs that I link and you enjoy them, let me know. I would like to hear your opinion. So until next time, stay dark, my friends, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.